Well, Tim, E3 2015 was, in the scale of recent years, absolutely huge. Just absolutely huge.
It certainly was. I think everyone got a little of what they wanted.
Which is exactly why we thought we'd bring in as many people as we could muster from the crew to see what they thought about E3 and what games were shown there.
Yep, so let's see what the crew thought.
Well, this E3 just gone has been one of the most exciting I've experienced in years. It's not about the consoles this time, it's about the games.
This year's E3 was certainly one of the biggest in recent times, not just in terms of the number of announcements, but the sheer scale of them. There's so many bombs dropped during the press conferences.
I gotta say, when it comes to E3 2015, I came out pleasantly surprised.
So the coolest thing for me from E3 2015, if we're not talking about objectively the best thing that was shown, which was the reveal of a new Nier game developed by Platinum Games. Thank you, Lord, there is a God in heaven. It's the best thing ever.
It's hard to pick out individual games.
I was blown away with the amount of announcements and amount of gameplay that was actually shown. Who would have thought gameplay at E3 and not just CG trailers?
So I won't. One of my highlights was the hundreds and hundreds of Xbox 360 games that are now suddenly available on Xbox One through backwards compatibility in what has to be a complete reversal from the original mission statement of the Xbox One, almost burning its past.
Mario & Luigi Paper Jam for the 3DS, and you may be thinking why, but here's the thing. I love the Mario & Luigi RPG series. I kinda like Paper Mario, even if there's like 2 good games in that series. And I also like really weird crossover stuff. So bringing the two together, creating a somewhat decent RPG out of it, that screams like, hey, this is a game I really want to play.
So last year I was at E3 as one of the crew members for New Game Plus, and I had a great time. My highlight was...
I'm gonna go even as far to say that it even eclipsed the 2013 new generation console releases.
Well, it is a photo that I have, it was just me falling asleep in the Sony presentation, and it's a great photo that I think sums up the trip.
I've got to say, Square Enix was probably the conference that brought the most amount of surprises and announcements.
I liked E3 a lot, but that press conference was really boring.
But there were individual games that also tickled my fancy. There's Recall from the studio that was previously responsible for Metroid Prime. Just the idea of that looks really interesting.
I got really excited about Star Wars Knights of the Fallen Empires.
On top of that, you have Horizon Zero Dawn. Just the idea of robot dinosaurs has me in from day one.
That was followed by a crushing blow to realize that was not KOTOR 3, and in fact, an Old Republic expansion. Boring.
It's such a good time as a retro gamer to get excited about new additions to each franchise.
The new Hitman looks absolutely bonkers. The new Tomb Raider looks just as good as it did when it was announced last year. The Rise of Tomb Raider.
Such a resurrection from 10 years ago. There's the new Shenmue coming.
Shenmue 3 is coming.
There's Last Guardian finally after 10 years since Shadow of the Colossus.
As well as The Last Guardian and Final Fantasy VII's remake, one of gaming's worst kept secrets.
Doom. We haven't seen Doom title in about 10 years as well.
So my highlight is pretty low-key compared to some of the others, and that's actually Star Ocean 5.
Let's also not forget that the Kinect wasn't even mentioned during the Microsoft presser.
Now, considering we expected to never see the game again after Tri-Ace became a mobile company, and we were only given the actual details of it existing about 2 months ago, the fact that we got a fully functional gameplay demo and it gave us a lot of interesting details about the game is really promising. And in the actual realm of JRPGs, for us to get any information at all so early is great. So looking forward to it and very hopeful.
Not to mention this Unravel from EA looks really sweet. It could end up being a little too precious for its own good, but for the moment, I want to believe.
E3 2015 brought me with such joy and such anticipation that the next few years in gaming are going to be some of the best yet.
So yeah, 2016, bring it on. I can't wait to check it out.
So I'm going to call it, Tim. I reckon that Fallout 4 was one of your highlights.
Yes, it certainly was.
Yeah, it looks really cool. The one thing that like they've always had with the Fallout series and even Elder Scrolls and stuff is like real flexibility in how you play it. So you've got like you can defend your own little settlements and all these different kind of cool things. Like I was literally, it finished here at 11 in the morning and I was at EB in my local by about 11:15, pre-ordering already. So.
Yeah, and when you watch it, Todd Howard is really passionate about what he does there. And it seems like they've added a lot of, I don't know, not necessarily stuff that's crucial to the story.
No.
They've added little add-ons.
They've
that you
added
can
flavour.
just-
Yeah. And that was the thing, like with the settlements, my hope is that you don't really have to do it. Do you know what I mean? Like I shouldn't be forced to play the way they want me to do it.
Yeah.
Like that was what kind of ruined some of the Assassin's Creed games. And yeah, that's a longer story than we've got time for. The other one for me was probably Xbox 360 backwards compatibility. Now they're not cannibalising their own sales. It makes perfect sense to do it. So
Yeah,
what
and
about you?
having the back catalogue of the 360 as well, thousands of games, may as well.
Yeah, exactly it. So was there any other highlights from you, Tim, or?
Just Cause 3 is looking great, but probably a low light. Rare. Why aren't they making a game? You've got Ukulele happening, and that looks great. Why isn't Rare doing something that's not re-releasing old games?
That's just kind of the elephant in the room. Hey, yeah.